So, child's pose is different for everybody. And, there's so many different ways to kind of decide what you want to do. I feel like everybody just sort of goes to their usual, but I had a little ankle issue going on. And so when I was doing my personal practice, I actually rolled up a blanket. I'm doing it right now. And I put it underneath my ankles and just kind of hung out. It actually felt really nice. It was just, give it a little bit of cushioning and lift. And it just kind of, I just found it fascinating how when we really just kind of get into our body and sort of understand what we need, that there are these tools, right? The blanket, the blocks, the strap, the wall, whatever we need, right? To just kind of address what something's not feeling right. What can I do to make it better? So, just throwing yourself down onto the floor may not be the right thing, right? Maybe putting that block under your head, right? That could be as far down as you want to go, but just having that support on the head. And if you like that idea, you can give yourself even a little bit of if the head is actually touching down on something, right? As opposed to just being up in space, just kind of rolling the forehead side to side, a little massage, even stopping, a little pressure on one temple and on the other, softening through the shoulders and the belly. Really just kind of enjoying this moment to come to the mat, right? To just kind of deposit ourselves, our stuff, and kind of set it off to the side. And allowing ourselves to just be, whatever that looks like. Yeah. And if your fingers aren't forward, maybe you can start to stretch them forward a little bit, stretching through the side body and the shoulders. Again, if you're feeling a little movement here, go ahead and lift up slightly, and then again, I exhale, press down, releasing the neck. Maybe even a little slight sway side to side, right? So whatever just feels right, just do that. And taking that deep breath in, exhaling, letting it go. Let's take our right hand all the way off the mat to the right, and then that left hand maybe comes on top or just next to it, right? So we're starting to stretch out a little bit through that left side body and just kind of play around with that left shoulder. Maybe you can lift it up slightly, drop it down. Walk the hands back through center. Taking a pit stop here, just go ahead and find a table before we move to the other side and take a moment for a couple of cat cows. So feeling how we can stretch the back, release the neck. And then your next exhale, taking it back down, reaching those fingers long. Let's take that left hand off the mat, and maybe that right hand can come on top or next door. Working into that right shoulder and that right side body. Again, taking a little bit of time to sort of move around. And again, slowly coming back through center. We'll find that same tabletop position again and find maybe 1 or 2 rounds of cat-cow, taking your time. And letting the spine find that nice neutral position. Let's go ahead and take those right toes back. Just start to rock a little bit back and forth. So you're going to feel a little stretch in the heel and the Achilles. Drop into that left hip, right? We don't want it reaching up to the sky. We really want those hips nice and square. And then lift that right leg up. Let's go ahead and take that left arm out so we have a little bit of opposition here. And then slowly release that left hand. I want you to bend that right knee and then cross it behind the left. So you can just sway the hips here. You can just kind of look back and see that leg is there. And then take that left arm back out. So we're squeezing those thighs together, right? We're lifting that foot. And we're going to take that thumb down and reach back. See if we can't grab hold of the foot. So we're twisting a little bit here. We can even pull that foot in towards the butt cheek just for a moment. And you can stay right here. If this feels good, this is a nice stretch, and this is as far as you want to go, stay with this, right? If you want to take it a little bit further, we're going to try to square off those shoulders. So taking that left shoulder forward, we're going to unwind the leg. And we're going to begin to lift the leg back to hip height, right? So we're stretching a little bit more here in that shoulder, pressing the foot away. Keep reaching the chest forward. Now, seeing if you've taken this position, let's go ahead and bring it back down. If you're here already, yeah, just go ahead and reach that left arm long and take that leg back out. And then slowly release. Good. Just wag your tail. We'll do the other side. So left leg goes long. Again, just those nice pulses here. Yeah, really press through that heel. Taking your time. Feel that stretch. It's a really good one. And then slowly lifting that left leg. Lift the core, lift the belly. Right arm extend next to the right ear. Getting our bearings here. Release that right hand. Let's go ahead and bend that left leg. Take a deep breath and then exhale, cross it behind. Look back. Right arm reaches and then reaches back to the leg. Again, maybe you just squeeze the foot in. Maybe this feels really nice and you want to stay here. Or you can begin to rotate those shoulders forward as you extend the leg and the chest. Taking one more breath. Now, if you're here and you just want to release, go ahead. Otherwise, just unwind yourself and lift the leg, lift the arm. And then exhale, take it back. Good. Tucking the toes under, press back, lift the belly, find downward facing dog. Pedaling out the feet, right and left. You can go slow, you can go fast. We want to feel the back of the armpit wrapping down, right? So it's an external rotation of the arms. Have those hands a little wider than shoulder width. Letting those heels settle. Lift the belly, reach those sits bones up towards the sky. Come all the way up on those tippy toes, stretch it up. And then exhale, release the heels down. Again, lift up on those heels. And release. One more time, pressing up. And lowering down, looking forward. Step the right foot between your hands and come down onto the left knee. Grab your blocks. And just bring them alongside as you come up into a low lunge. So starting here with hips square, right? Squeeze those inner thighs, arms extend up alongside the ears, palms facing one another. Let's go ahead and open up to the right. So that right arm is reaching back and that left arm forward. And then sweep that right arm up and around. 2 more times. Follow with the breath. A little vinyasa here, a little flow. As you come back through center, begin to sink those hips forward and down, right? So again, we want to keep working on having that knee in line with the heel. That left hip is tracking forward. And we can just place our hands on those blocks, right? Traction your fingers back so the chest is open. And then slowly go ahead and take those hips back. As you begin to move into Ardha Hanumanasana, right, what we want to do is we want to extend that right leg long. We want to keep tracking that left hip forward. Maybe those blocks have to come back now, right? So we can keep that chest lifted. So just think about those blocks as like either an extension of your hands or bringing the floor up to you, right? So we have a nice flat back. Again, that chest is lifted. We're not straining here. That's what the blocks are helpful for, yeah? Maybe if we bend the elbows, we can see if we can just take it down a little bit more. And then just explore lifting and lowering that right foot. So digging that heel in, right? Toes touch down if they can, lift back. And what we're doing here is we're starting to stretch out the front of that lower leg. One more. Nice. And as that foot comes down, go ahead and come forward again. Bring those hands forward and really feel that nice stretch. Maybe take an arch in the spine. Gaze lift. Traction those hands back so you can feel that chest opening. You can feel those shoulder blades squeezing together. And then come back upright. We can take those blocks off to the side here. And we're just going to swing that left foot around. So we're coming up into, it's almost like a warrior two, but on our knee. Yeah. We can start with the hands at the hips. And then I just want you to rock forward and back in this position. Keep that knee nice and open. If you want to challenge yourself, maybe those arms can come out so that they're parallel to the floor. If you want to work even more, maybe you can take them and wrap them around the back of the head. Again, just letting those elbows extend back, yeah? Keep going, one more. Good. Let's slowly come back around. We're gonna lift up on that back foot and step the right foot back to meet the left in downward dog. Same thing on the left side. Let's set the left foot between the hands. And again, we're gonna come up, just starting in this nice neutral position here. Arms are lifted, so we're feeling lengthening, right? We're finding that nice length through that side body. The chin is parallel, we're breathing, we're noticing that channel of breath moving through the body. And then we're gonna open up to the left. So that right arm is gonna come forward, that left arm back, and then just take a little flow here, right? This is our inhale. Beautiful. So again, let's moving into that sort of lunge position. We're stretching out the front of that right quadricep muscle. There's big muscle groups in the legs. Belly stays lifted here. Grab those blocks. Working on tractioning those hands back as that chest lifts. Try not to sink into the joints, right? It's super easy here to let the joints do the work. We want to just come to that edge so we know when we feel those muscles are still working, right? We're not dumping down and relaxing. We got to keep a little bit of energy. And then pressing back. Maybe you have to walk those blocks back a little bit to keep that chest nice and lifted. Right hip is turning in. Slowly, as you're ready, maybe you start to point and flex that left foot. You might notice any differences from one side to the other, right? Keep tractioning those hands back, lifting the chest, breathing. And then slowly coming back upright. Good, and dropping into that hip. Take one more nice stretch here. Good, and we're gonna go ahead and revolve that left leg, right? So it's just kind of, or the right leg, I should say. It's coming back behind us. We can move those blocks again. And again, come into whatever version here you want. Palms at prayer on the hips, out, maybe behind the head. Just taking a little rock back and forth. Just enjoying this little, right, opening and extending in the little groin area here, dropping those sits bones down. There might be a slight squeeze of the buttocks. Good, and then slowly, let's go ahead and take those hands back to the floor. We're going to turn that toe back to the back of the room and come up onto the back foot, lifting that right knee. Go ahead and step that left foot back to meet the right. And again, we find ourselves in downward dog. Let's inhale, find a nice plank pose. And exhale onto the knees, melt all the way down with the forehead, come to the floor. Keep your hands right at that rib cage, right? So they're not underneath your shoulders. They're back by those upper ribs. Draw the shoulder blades back. Traction your hands back, squeeze and lift the head and chest. Exhale, slowly release the forehead to the floor. Bring the hands forward up underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes, and find a table. So we're going to reach that right arm up and then thread it underneath. Just a quick pit step here and thread the needle. And then inhale, right arm reaches up. Exhale, release. Let's go ahead and lift that left arm. Right, we're not staying in this one very long today. We're just going to press down. Feel that nice stretch here. And then inhale, lift it back up. Good. Go ahead, tucking those toes under again. Lift the hips. Come up onto those tippy toes. You can step or jump to the top of the mat, finding a standing forward fold in Uttanasana. Letting the hands stay on the floor, maybe up on the blocks, right? Exploring with those blocks today. You can bend the elbows. You can let that head and shoulders hang. Sometimes this helps release any extra tension. You may not even know that we have, right? Feet can be apart slightly or together. Knees can be slightly bent or straight. Look up at those hip creases with your eyeballs and breathe. Let the crown of the head extend down to the floor. Finding your deepest forward folds here. Bend into the knees and go ahead and roll all the way up to stand. So standing at the top of the mat or at the middle of the mat, your choice, right, wherever you can see me. Let's go ahead and inhale, reach those arms up and over the head, interlace the fingers and press them away. I know I'm getting cut off here. Go ahead and maybe just press those hips forward. So we're finding a little bit of a back bend, right? Not too much, just a little one. Stretch the arms back. Lift the gaze maybe to where the ceiling and the wall meet. And then come back through center. Good. Go ahead and exhale. Take those hands behind the back. Interlace the fingers. And again, open up that chest. This time we're going to hinge forward again, lifting the, maybe we lift the elbows up towards the ears here. So like we're sort of hunching a little bit to help get those arms lifted a little bit higher. And then press into the feet, lift all the way up. Let's take those arms back up and over the head. This time, hold on to that left wrist with the right hand. Take a nice inhale, exhale over to the right 3 times. Little half moon and Ardha Chandrasana, right? Pressing into that left foot, kicking that left hip out. We're stretching all the way through that left side body and then coming back through center. Good. Go ahead and take those hands back behind the back. Maybe the opposite thumb comes on top this time. Shrug the shoulders and then hinge forward again. Let those eyeballs lift up towards those hip creases. Pressing into the feet. Root to rise, arms reach and extend up. This time, take hold of that right wrist with the left hand. Inhale, extend up, and exhale to the left. Inhale, lift. Make sure when you're coming into this position, right, that chest stays open, not towards the floor. One more nice stretch here as we open up. Exhale, take those palms to heart center and alongside the body. Just close your eyes for a moment in Tadasana, our mountain pose. So we're just going to explore, opening the eyes, we're just going to explore a little bit of kind of what's happening in like this whole hip region, right? Which does all this work of keeping our upper and lower bodies, right, kind of put together. So with one block, I want you to step up on it with your right foot. Now those left toes, maybe you can just kind of let them touch just for a second here so you can get your bearing. What we're going to do is, we've done this before, right? We're just going to like lift that leg. We're keeping our hips straight, so we're not hiking up in any way. We're trying to keep that nice line in the hip. And maybe those palms can just say a prayer. And just let that left leg dangle. And I want you to feel what's happening in that standing leg, that right leg. Might be a slight bend, probably is. Might feel a little wobbling happening in the ankle, right? You're probably feeling a little bit more in the foot, right? The points, the bottom of the foot, right? We're lifting up through the chest. And we're just releasing anything out of that left leg, the one that's dangling. If you feel like you're holding on to it, can you let it go? Can you just let it go dead weight? Let it be heavy. It might even be swaying a little bit, which is why we're having to work in the body here to keep ourselves from falling, right? Take one more breath. Good. Go ahead and step down and step back away from that block just for a minute. And I want you to close your eyes and just feel the legs. Maybe there's no difference. Maybe you feel a little bit difference between your right and your left leg just from doing that little exercise. Okay, we're going to take it to the other side. So take that left foot up on the block. Again, just for a moment, toe comes down, right? So we can sort of find our right posture here. And then lift the foot so it's just hanging. Find a point to gaze at, your drishti, something that's not moving. Maybe a little bit more lift in the elbows. Chest is lifted. Right, we're feeling all those feels in the standing leg. The right leg is as heavy as it can be. Last couple breaths. Woo. And slowly step back. Good. Go ahead and just move those blocks off to the side. And if you're not at the front of the mat, just go ahead and find a mindful walk to the top and inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, dive over the legs, bend the knees, step, hop, or jump back, plank pose, top of our push-up. Holding through plank, press out through the heels. Chest is reaching forward. Lots of energy here. And then release to the knees. Let's take just a quick pit stop in a child's pose, fingers forward. Noticing how this child pose feels compared to how we started. And then inhale, coming back upright through table. Tucking the toes under again, find downward dog. Look forward and step that right foot between your hands and come up into a high lunge. So you can walk up that right knee, right? Or just kind of pop yourself up. That left hip is turning in. Inhale, reach those arms up. A little flow as we open and come back through center. Keep that left hip moving forward, right? We're opening up the chest and then taking it back. Nice. And then exhale, take those hands onto the right thigh and begin to bring yourself closer to the floor. So we're just kind of sinking into those hips here. Grab your blocks again. Taking hold of the blocks, right? Again, traction those hands back, shoulder blades back, chest is lifted. Now see if you can't press your seat back and extend your right leg. Notice that left hip, right? Do you see what I just did? I lifted it open, turn it down. You want that hip facing the floor. Again, find that flat back, belly is lifted, breathe here. And then inhale, bend into that right leg, find your lunge again, and then walk your right hand and your right block over to the right, and then take the left with it. So we're just, our hands are on the blocks and we're twisting to the right. Maybe we can even look back. Oh, Chewy, it's okay. And then let's take those blocks back through center. We're gonna walk them to the long edge of the mat. We're gonna turn our toes in so they're parallel to one another. You can walk those blocks out so they're underneath your shoulders. Find that flat back. Gaze at the floor in front of you here. Lift the belly. Now on your exhale, bend into the elbows and see if you can't come down just a little bit more. If you want to try and walk those blocks back a little bit, you can do that. Keeping the shoulder blades working back and lifting through the chest. Right, your choice where you want those blocks to be. All right, we're gonna bend into those knees and turn those right toes back to the top of the mat. We can walk those blocks up and again, find that lunge. Good, let's push those blocks again off to the side. Hands come to frame that right foot. Step the right foot back to meet the left in downward dog. Taking a vinyasa of your choice, inhale through plank pose, exhale chaturanga, or just release all the way to the floor. Take an upward facing dog or a baby cobra, and then press back to downward facing dog. Let's inhale again, coming into plank. Bring the knees to the floor, and again, roll all the way down, let the forehead touch. Bring those hands back to the upper ribs. Squeeze the thighs together, bring the feet together, lift the kneecaps, but not the toes. Energy here, traction those hands back, inhale, lift the head and chest. Maybe this time you lift the feet. Try to keep working those heels together. And exhale, release. Hands come up underneath the shoulders. Press through table. Let's go ahead and just take some nice swings with the right arm and then the left. Circles. Nice. And then we're going to press ourselves back into downward facing dog. Looking forward, step the left foot between the hands, right? Make sure those blocks are nearby. And then we're going to make our way into our high lunge on this side. So again, that left hip is moving forward. Arms are alongside the ears, palms are facing one another. Inhale, open up. And exhale 3 times around. Matching that breath to the movement. Not dumping into those joints, right? Lifting, using the muscles. Nice. Slowly bring the hands to the thigh. Come down lower, right? Hands find those blocks. Stretch that chest forward. Traction your hands back. And then slowly begin to stretch out that left leg, right? Chest is lifted. Maybe you have to walk those blocks back to keep that chest nice and straight. Check in with that right hip. You don't want it to open up. You want it to find its spot facing forward, right? Everything is moving forward here. Nice deep stretch. Press down through that back heel. And then slowly rebend that front leg. Good. Let's go ahead and walk the blocks over to the left. So we're just twisting to the left. Bring that left knee into the body. Don't let it come out to the side. We're squeezing everything into the midline. Walk the blocks back. All right, we're going to come over to the right. And then we're going to stay here and drop into that right foot. Turn that left toe forward, and we're going to walk to the center of the mat on the other side. So like you see my booty, and I'm just going to turn around. Okay, so we're facing that long edge of the mat again. This time we're going to turn the toes out slightly, and the heels are going to come in. We're going to bend into the knees. We're just going to like sit back here. So maybe this is where you might want to take the hands onto the thighs and away from the blocks. Right? We're going to reach that chest forward. We're gazing at the floor. Sink down a little bit lower. Bring those knees out. You can kind of just stay here. If you want to explore reaching the arms out, you can do that. Whichever way you choose. Again, we're using the muscles. And then bring the hands back. Press down. Walk those toes all the way in. Let that chest fall to the thighs. Gentle standing forward fold. Bend the knees, roll all the way up and come to stand. So we're going to do a tree pose. And you might want to challenge yourself tonight with tree and try it with a block. So bringing that right foot onto the block. Right, we've been here before. We can kind of get our bearings here and then see if we can't maybe take that left foot, right? Kind of, you can play with it kind of like I'm doing right now. You can bring the foot inside that calf, or you can attempt to bring the heel up into that inner thigh. Wherever you find yourself, start with your hands in prayer. Right at that heart center. Helps us to remind us to lift the chest. Maybe with that gaze, that drishti, on a single point, arms can lift. If you fall out, just go back in. It's no big deal. You might sway a little bit more here than your normal tree pose, or you might actually feel more stable. Right? Some people say that when they do it this way, they actually have more stability. So you decide. Bring those hands back to prayer. Can we turn that right knee in and then step off the block? Beautiful. Coming to the other side. All right, take your time. That's a nice thing. We don't have to rush. This is a mindful practice, right? We want to be mindful of our body, our place in space, what's happening, right? Making that mind, body, spirit connection, right? Yoga yoke, connect. We're yoking ourselves, right? Slowly bring those palms back to prayer. Bring that right knee forward and step off. Good. Let's close the eyes. Let those arms come alongside the body. Release any residual tension. Maybe you were hanging on to just being on that block. Let the breath go. Good. And then opening the eyes. Again, let's go ahead and just take those blocks off of the mat and mindfully come back up to the front. We're going to inhale, reach the arms up overhead, and then exhale. Draw those palms at heart center and hinge over the legs. Bend the knees, step back your way to plank, right foot or left, doesn't matter. And we're going to find our way down to the floor. So knees are just come down in one piece, right? Let that forehead touch down. One more time, bring those arms up underneath those next to those upper ribs. You can already feel the heart lifting. Bring the feet together. And on your inhale, lift your head and chest. Maybe you lift your feet. Maybe those hands begin to release back towards the feet. And exhale, release. Palms face up. Take your favorite cheek to the mat. Doing a little Superman. We're going to reach those arms out over their head. Bring the forehead to the floor. So we're going to start off with opposite arm and leg, and then we're going to try and do everything together. So exhale all the way out. On the inhale, lift the right arm and the left leg. And lift the head. And on your exhale, release. Inhale, right arm, left arm, and right leg. Pressing down into that right hand. And then exhale, release. Keep going back and forth like that. Lifting on the inhale and lowering on the exhale. Your own pace. Try to get a full breath in and a full breath out. Last time, both sides. And just stop when you finish on that opposite side. Kind of psyching ourselves up here. We're going to try for both at the same time. So if you want to explore first just the hands in the heart center, press down through the feet and inhale, lift the arms, lift the head, and then exhale, slowly release. Now lift the feet and release. All right, away we go. Lift everything and try to hold. If it feels better to maybe swim a little bit, that means taking the elbows back and reaching them forward. So you're doing a little movement with this. You can do that. Or you can just keep those hands reaching forward. Your choice. Last breath. All right, exhale, release. Let it go with a moan. I know that was hard. Take your cheek to the floor. Let those arms come alongside the body. Switch your cheek if that feels good. And then bring the hands up underneath the shoulders. Let's go ahead and press up again into a table. Take a few rounds of cat and cow. Maybe you want to do some barrel rolls. Side to side, sway with the hips, right? Anything here that feels something that your body might be calling for. All right, and then make your way into a child's pose. So hips to heels and breathe. Setting up for the rest of our practice. Take a moment. Extending those fingers long. Or maybe we draw them back alongside the body, right? What feels right. All right, let's go ahead and make our way up and find a seat. So we're just gonna maybe come over to one side, bring those feet out in front of us. And if that strap is calling for you tonight for our Paschimottanasana or forward fold, just go ahead and wrap it around the balls of the feet and sit up nice and tall. And again, noticing that line between I'm dumping into my joints or I'm lifting and I'm really using the muscles, right? That's how we get hurt, not just in yoga, but really in lots of different exercise, is when we start using the joints and not engaging the muscles, right, around those joints. So we have to turn on and engage. And we get tired, right? And that's that point where we have to be the observer. We have to notice. We have to pay attention to what's happening in our body. And so that tells us, do we push forward a little bit more or we take it back a little bit, right? So we're sitting up nice and tall here in our staff pose, Dandasana. As you're ready, feel free to fold forward. Again, maybe you walk your hands down the strap. You might notice that at some point you don't need the strap and your fingers can actually touch the toes. If you want to explore maybe a slight bend in the knees with the hands underneath the calves, that might feel better too. I like to close my eyes in my forward folds. It kind of helps me tune into my body. A little introspection. And then inhale, you can release that strap, come all the way up to sit. Bend that right knee and pull it into the body. Let's go ahead and cross it over and just wrap that left arm around that right knee. Squeeze everything in. And I haven't twisted yet. I'm still sitting up nice and tall here. Press down into that right foot. Now, as you're ready, maybe you take that twist to the right. Some of you, if you can, that left leg, I should have said this before, might just kind of come behind you, right? So that left leg, that bottom leg can be straight out or it could be pulled in towards your sitting bones. Nice. Come back through center. If that right leg was, or that left leg was in, go ahead and take it back out. Toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. It's okay, Chuchi. All right, and then go ahead and release that right foot next to the left. Good. Inhale, take those arms up and over the head. Now hinge forward. Just stopping maybe a third of the way. Reaching out through that side body, lifting the hip, lifting the ribs away from the hips. And then inhale, coming back up. Good. Bend into that left knee and step it across. All right. Again, that right foot can stay out in front, or you can just kind of, whoops, roll it back to the left. I went the wrong way. Take that right arm around the left leg. Sit up nice and tall here, squaring off the hips to the front of the mat. And then as you're ready, twisting to the left. Nice. Go ahead and come back through center. We're going to go ahead and take our strap. We're going to unwind those legs, bring both feet to the floor. Actually, before they do that, take your hands back behind you. Open those knees up and just go ahead and take them side to side. And then into a reverse table. So those feet come parallel to the hips. We lift up, we press those hips to the ceiling. And then exhale, lower down. Good. So we're going to go ahead and take that strap, around our right foot. So grabbing onto that strap here. Take that strap in that left hand. So you might just want to move, whatever you've got to the inside of the body. So we're sitting up nice and tall. We're strapping into that right foot. And I just want you to just kind of explore as you sit up. Can you lift that leg? Maybe with that knee bent, right? So think about that strap as an extension of your hand. Can you start to straighten the leg? Right, pressing through the heel. We're sitting up nice and tall. And then maybe that right arm starts to reach up over the head. Right, again, we haven't done any twisting here. We're just reaching forward. If you want to explore an open twist, that right arm can go back. And then we come back through center and release that right foot. Good. Go ahead and hug onto the shins and release the forehead. And we'll take it to the other side. So strap that left foot, right? Let that left hand come inside the foot, or the leg, I should say, right? And just start here and notice the belly, right? We don't want to dump in. We want to lift up and out. We want to feel that energy. Use those muscles. Find those sit bones. Left arm reaches up, and then maybe we open. And then we release. Good. Taking that strap off to the side. Yeah, let's go ahead and lower down onto our back. Bring your knees up into the chest. And just take a minute here. Letting everything go, maybe rocking side to side. And then the legs go long. Arms reach up over the head like we're doing that nice good morning stretch. Open and close your fists, your hands. Point and flex the toes. And going ahead, bringing the hands alongside the body, bend the knees. And we'll find supported bridge tonight. So take in both blocks. Right, we want to lift up, place the blocks up underneath the sacrum. Hands come alongside the blocks. And again, noticing, right? Are we energizing? Are we energizing the muscles? Pressing down into the feet, rolling those thighs in towards one another. Lifting the chest. Feeling that nice flow of the breath. All right, slowly, let's go ahead and take one block out. And we'll find Viparita Karani. So, or if you like 2 blocks, you can always do 2. Bring those feet straight up. Just enjoy having these legs up in the air, right? Little release of gravity, finding our legs in a position that they're not often in feels really good for them. Taking a couple of more breaths. Good. And then letting those feet come back to the floor. Go ahead and take that block out from underneath you. Pull the knees back into the chest. You can cross that right knee over the left and let those arms come out to the side. So we're going to start by bringing the legs over to the right. So we're just going to let those legs roll to the right, press into that right arm to kind of bring that foot, those legs down. And then take it back through center. And then the way that feels more normal, over to the left. And back through center. Good. Go ahead and unwind those legs, cross the left over the right. And this time the legs are going to the left. As you're ready, up through center. And over to the right. And as you're ready, coming back through center, coming into Shavasana. So if you did that little roll, you explored that with your blanket, right? Mine just kind of came undone. But if you'd like to open up the chest a little bit in Shavasana, bring that blanket back behind you. You can roll down on it. You want to start at about the middle of your back. Lift your hands above the head, lift the back of the blanket so it just kind of tucks up underneath your skull. And then those arms can just relax alongside the body. Feet is wider than the yoga mat. Take a couple of breaths here, releasing, letting go. Our final resting pose here in Shavasana. And slowly beginning to bring your attention back. Making any movements that feel comfortable, right to you. Bending the knees, taking the soles of the feet to the floor. And if it's evening, rolling to the right. If you've got more to do today, left. Right. Settling in for the night or a little bit more energy, and then making your way to an upright seated position. Keeping the eyes closed or the gaze down. Bring the palms at heart center. Take a full deep breath in, exhale, let it go. And thank you for showing up tonight to practice. And we'll close by saying namaste, which means the light in me sees, recognizes, and honors that light in you. Namaste. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of the day.